Yo, welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Jakey. I am in Salt Lake City. Again, I guess I was here last week too when I checked in. But I've been here almost a week now and it's feeling good. And it's feeling good to be back to work too. It's amazing how quickly things can change and how many doors can open when you let the universe know that you're ready for doors to be opening again. I talked last week about wanting to be back on the boats and being psyched to be back on the boats and wanting to book more shows. And I started reaching out and trying to make things happen last week, and things are starting to happen. Got a few more shows booked. We're bringing back some bus trips to the Fish concerts at least this summer. 2 to Jones Beach and 1 to their show in Hartford. I've got some DJ parties planned. One that'll have dropped later today. Britney Spears versus Justin Timberlake versus Justin Bieber. Britney versus the Justins, the Cry Me a River dance party. We had a lot of success recently with our Taylor Swift dance parties. And they just can't sell tickets fast enough. So I'm going to be booking a bunch more Just Dance parties rather than bands on the boats for a lot of reasons. A, people really seem to react and respond well and have a really good time to the Taylor Swift and the emo cruise boats that we did, the emo night. And I got a bunch more planned. I got like 10 concepts ready to roll, but this week we're gonna be launching Britney's versus the Justin, and then a Good For You Happier As I Am party, which is gonna be Billie Eilish versus Harry Styles versus Olivia Rodrigo, and the Badass Bitch Boat party, which will be featuring the music of Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, Lizzo, and more female artists, and hopefully those will go well. And then I've got some other concerts coming. Murphy's Law back this year. The Pie Tasters are back. Just announced one with the Docksiders, which are a yacht rock band, and hopefully a bunch more. And hopefully that's going to alleviate the financial pressure I've been feeling for the past couple of years and put me back in the ranks of gainfully employed, or at least gainful earners, which definitely feels really good. I mean, I got the money. When you sell tickets with a ticketing company like TicketWeb or Ticketmaster, as a promoter, you don't get the money until after the shows have played. And it felt really good from the shows I had last week to get the money into my account, which was pretty much running on fumes. And now I'm back in a place where I feel like I don't have to watch every expenditure. But at the same time, I've also gotten used to being thrifty. And that's something I'm going to continue with. Because for most of my adult life, or I guess, definitely most of my adult life, I had more money than I literally knew what to do with. I was earning quite a bit of money by putting on just tons of shows and running myself ragged. And for a long time, I really didn't understand what it was like to have to look at price tags, whether that was for a flight or a hotel or even just groceries, for years now, since the mid to late 2000s, I just shop wherever I wanted. Shop at Whole Foods, shop at Zabar's, shop at Dean and DeLuca, whatever. It didn't matter. I honestly didn't know how much fucking grapes cost, and now I do. They tend to be about $3.99 a pound, but you can get them on sale when they're cheaper, and then they taste better that way. I have also found out, honestly, they kind of taste better when they come, when they're not on sale, because they're going to be put on sale because they're losing their freshness. And, obviously you get better quality produce at some places, but then again, who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? I'll just eat grapes. Grapes are fucking awesome to eat, and bananas are awesome to eat. Would I like to buy organic all the time? Sure. Would I like to shop at Whole Foods all the time, where their produce is going to be probably the nicest version of whatever it is? Are they going to have the best Honeycrisp apples? Yeah, probably, because they're a lot more stringent with their suppliers and who they get them from. But in the end, what I'm saying here is that I've enjoyed learning to live frugally and thriftily and literally, discerning the difference between wants and needs. Because, well, I was going to say because I want a lot of things, but I don't need much. And that's not even really true necessarily. Like, I don't really want much anymore. There is a huge difference too between wants and would like to have, right? Would I like to have a brand new motorcycle? Sure. Would I like to have a penthouse apartment in the sky? Sure. But do I want those things? No, not really. So yeah, like to haves are way different, and wants are more like I want to stay in a nicer hotel than a shitty motel, and maybe every now and then I'll be able to do that if I keep earning money. But I also, if I live thriftily throughout the summer, then there's a very good chance I won't be stressed about money in the fall and spring, in the winter of next year. That's the level I want to get to financially, is where I'm just like not worried about making money over the next few months. I want to make money where I can, how I can, in the methods I enjoy, which obviously are producing my own shows. I've thought a lot about working at other music venues and other festivals, and yeah, I can do that if I need to, but I don't think I'm going to do that this summer. Shout out to Tallboy Can, who sent me some ideas, both for he sent me a cool music venue, Pine Creek Lodge in Montana, with a very thoughtful note saying maybe that's a place I'd want to work. And I looked at their schedule; it looked pretty cool. The whole place looks pretty cool, but I just don't want to be. I don't want to be in one place again. Which is sort of why I decided not to go back to Yellow Pine. I wanted a little freedom to roam around, and this summer it looks like I'm going to have that. I'm definitely going to be based here in Salt Lake, at least for the foreseeable future, as my buddy, who I told you about on previous podcasts, pretty much said, hey, why don't you just base yourself out of here? And, I immediately was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And talking about when one door closes, another one opens, this didn't even become a possibility of any sort until I kind of closed the door to Yellow Pine and then came down here to visit my buddy. I say down here. We're at like 5,000 feet elevation, 4,700 feet. So it's really up here, or across to here if you're looking elevation-wise, but down here if you're looking at the map. I came down here to Salt Lake, and then Jordan was like, why don't you base out of here? Like, right when I thought, like, okay, I'm just giving everything up, any sense of, like, security, physical location security I had with Yellow Pine. And now I'm in Salt Lake, and we had another discussion about it this morning where I said to him, hey, man, like, you told me to just stay as long as I'd like and base myself out of here, but we hadn't really discussed it again since then, and I want to tell you that I've taken what you've said seriously, and I plan on just basing myself out of here. So I want to make sure that that's still cool. Like, I'm going to leave for Vegas in a couple days and then wrap back around. Jack White plays here on June 10th, and I was like, did you really mean it? Like, can I just fucking hang here all summer and when I'm not in New York or taking off on my motorcycle? And he was like, hell yeah, man, hell yeah. Of course I meant it. And I was like, well, hell yeah. And it's so nice too. Like, when I ended up in Yellow Pine, I ended up or in Idaho, I ended up with my friends Greg and Shanti in McCall, and I was living in their guest cabin, and like, they had their own life, right? They're a married couple with a kid, and we didn't hang out that much. It wasn't like I wasn't living in the house with them, so we had plenty of separation, which was cool in a lot of ways, but also a little lonely sometimes, because I didn't want to be like knocking on their door every time I wanted to see somebody. And now, so far in the time I've spent here at Jordan's house, it's been pretty fucking rad, because he's a single man. He's not married. He's got a girlfriend, and she's got a 5-year-old kid named Luke, who I like, and spent a fair amount of time with already over the past few weeks. I lose track. But yeah, it's just me and Jordan here in this massive house, and he's like, yeah, I just love having you around. And also, like, he's got to travel a bunch for the summer, and he was like, it's just doing me a favor. You being here is doing me a favor in having you be here to make sure the house isn't burning down and just kind of looking after things. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. So it seems like you close one door and you open another. And then also I closed the door to Yellow Pine, and then I went back to New York and I went on my boat cruises, and the universe basically told me, Jake, you need to do more of these boat cruises. This is a fucking awesome thing that you invented, and you should be doing more of it, and you should be throwing more parties and giving more people the boat cruise experience. So that's what I'm doing. I'm booking more shows, and I launched a finally redesigned version of rocksoft.com that I try to keep simple yet informative. Just kind of got the main page with all our shows listed on there, and then an About Us, an FAQ, a Private Parties tab, and maybe I'll put a tab for the podcast, a tab for the store to buy shirts and stuff, and like that's kind of it, man. Like that's all you need. What else do we need, So I feel good. I feel like I'm rocking and rolling again. I feel like I'm back in my little hustle mode. And I feel like, I don't know if I would have rediscovered my love for the boats in Yellow Pine. Well, I didn't really rediscover them in Yellow Pine or in Utah. I rediscovered them by going back and being on the boats and realizing like, hey man, this is a pretty decent way to make money. When I had worked that festival in Boise a couple of months back, like, yeah, I made $1,000 doing that, but at the end I was like, man, there's got to be better ways to make $1,000. And it turned out there are, by booking shows. So I'm gonna ride this pony now for the summer and see how it goes, and then I'll see how my bank account looks in September, in October, and see what else I need to do, if anything, for the winter. And if not, then I probably won't sweat working that much, and I'll just work on writing and maybe more painting. Yeah, shit feels good. So where have I been? What have I done since we last chatted? Let's see. I went for a motorcycle ride with Jordan, but otherwise I've just been chilling. I mean, we went camping too, which I'll get to in a minute, but like, I just haven't pushed myself. I felt like since I left Yellow Pine in March, I worked that festival, then I flew to New York, and then I flew to Detroit, and then I back to New York, and then I did those Jack White shows in Atlanta, and then I fucking flew to Idaho, and then had to go get my bike, which was a whole thing. Then I fucking came back to Salt Lake, then I went all the way back to Yellow Pine and packed up my stuff, and I just feel like I've been on the move, and then spent a few days in Salt Lake City, and then boom, back to New York. And it was like, right, working again. And then from New York back here. And like now for the past week, I've just been like, man, right, I just like hanging out. So I've been trying to do some hanging out. We went camping the other day. Me, Jordan, Jewel, and her son Luke, we loaded up into her pickup truck. And what a different experience camping with a vehicle is, like with a four-wheeled vehicle, especially a pickup truck. Like, they brought so much stuff. And I'm not used to camping with stuff. I've only ever done camping off the back of a motorcycle, where you have a very limited amount of space, so a limited amount of things you can bring, even though, yeah, when my motorcycle is like loaded up with my bags, I look like coming out of the Beverly Hillbillies or something. And it looks like I have a ton of stuff, but it's not that much stuff, like the big bag that I strap onto the back of my bike has my straight up camping gear. It's got tent, sleeping bag, sleeping pad, hammock, stove, camp stove, and like flip-flops, and that's basically it. Like that takes up the whole bag, and sometimes I jam one or two more things in there, 2 different hammocks, oddly enough, but also obviously. Hammocks don't take up much space. I have an Eno single nest and a double nest. Maybe I'll get into reasons why you want multiple hammocks at another time. I'll just tell you now, the double nest is wide, and it sort of like wraps around you like a burrito when you're in it. It's meant for 2 people. When you're one person, it sort of wraps up around you, which I kind of like sometimes for the cold, even though I don't think the hammock offers much warmth. I don't know. It's just almost a safety issue, but really, I like a single nest, because with the double nest, when it wraps around you like a burrito, you got to put like your feet over the edge to kind of keep it down and like to appreciate a lot of the view. Whereas the single nest hammock is just meant for one person, and you just kind of like squeeze into it, and it doesn't fold you up like said burrito. So I carry 2 hammocks and 2 sets of straps. Why? I don't know. Cause like, when am I going to need the double nest? I don't know. I I bought the single nest like towards the end of last summer, so I haven't had a lot of time to A/B them and feel the differences. But the other night when we went camping, I set up the double nest for Jordan and Jewel and Luke to play in, and I set up the single nest for myself and slept overnight in that one for the first time. I had actually bought it and left it at Greg and Shanti's house. So when I came back from Yellow Pine on my days off, I'd have a hammock there so I didn't have to like remember to carry a hammock back to McCall with me. Totally overkill. But when I did that last summer, I was making some money at the tavern, so I was like, you know what, I can afford another hammock. I think less than $100 for the hammock and the straps together. Definitely was a want, not a need. But sometimes your wants can make you feel good. You know what I mean? Like if you want something for a little while, then you let yourself keep wanting it for a while, and then you get it, and it makes you feel good. And that's something I've had to contend with post-treatment too, because I realized I was a bit of a shopping addict, because for a while I was buying things just to sort of feel the rush of purchasing them. I did that for years with clothes, shoes, sunglasses, hats, and now I'm like, all right, I don't buy those things unless it's something I really want, and then it feels good in a different way. I'm like, I'm not buying it to just like try to keep some demons at bay and get a shot of like dopamine. I'm buying it because I'm like, okay, I've thought about this and this is something I would like to have, so it makes sense to me to spend this money to have this thing, which is a whole different way of looking at life and consumerism, and I'm happy I found that. So anyway, so we go camping, and Jewel came over with the truck, and it was full of stuff, and we got out there. We rode out to, I don't know, Tuele County somewhere in Utah, where I don't know. We went along the old Pony Express Trail for like, I don't know, 11.5 miles, I believe, on a dirt road. After we were sort of already out in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't super far. Hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from Salt Lake here, I guess. And we tooled around in the truck for a while until we found a good campsite. It was all BLM land, so it was all just totally primitive camping. We just pulled the truck into a spot where we found a clearing between some trees, a place that had enough flat space to set up their tent, and trees for my hammock, and then we unloaded, and oh my god, they had a dual burner camping stove with real pans to cook things in. Jewel brought a Dutch oven, like an old school proper Dutch oven that you use for camping, like not an enamel cast iron pot that they call Dutch ovens, but a real old fucking cast iron, not enamel glazed Dutch oven that you put down on a bunch of coals. And we had cheeseburgers and all sorts of snacks, and we had s'mores and a 7-gallon jug of water, and they had a huge tent, and it just felt like, I don't know, a table that folded out to put all our food on. And it felt like in two ways. It felt totally overkill and ostentatious display of camping. I think that's only because of my previous experience. And it also felt like really nice to have all that stuff. Like, I'll say it. I developed this sort of opinion of my style of camping as the best way to do it. Like, really sort of roughing it, not having much. And sort of like figuring out things along the way, like figuring out how to get food. And that usually means just going to a supermarket if there's one available, if not like a little convenience store, and just getting canned something or beef jerky and dealing with that, and filling up water bottles at a gas station as opposed to like bringing a whole 7 gallons with you, which was definitely nice to have. But I'm not sure I see myself doing that kind of camping myself. Maybe one day when I end up finding myself a lady partner, she might be like, yeah, you go camp on your motorcycle by yourself, but we're going to actually take things that make us a little more comfortable. But then I'm like, what's the point of being comfortable if you're camping? Like, I know, I get it. Like, the point is going away from home, spending a night away from your home in the great wide open. Like, doesn't mean you have to give up all semblance of comfort like I often do on my motorcycle. I wouldn't say all semblance of comfort, but like, I gotta say, the first bunch of times I camped on the back of a motorcycle, like, it wasn't super comfortable. And I think I'm super comfortable with it now, but only because I've been doing it for so long now that that's just what I am used to. But I am still proud of myself for being able to roof it like that. So yeah, we got out there, but it like also was a quick turnaround. We got out there, we left here at like 4, probably like found our campsite and like had it all like found and picked the one we were gonna be at like 6:15ish, something like that. And then by like 10:30, 11 o'clock, we were asleep. And then I woke up at 6, heard Luke's little feet pitter pattering around the campsite, and then I got up and like we were packed up and out of there by like 8:30, 8:45, something like that. So it was almost like a 14-hour stay at the campground, which is not a lot. I prefer, for myself, when possible, to spend a couple of nights in one location. So you really just sort of like, you get used to being out there in nature and really unwind for a bit. But I don't know when that's going to be coming up. We're going to see. Because I think in the next day or two, I'm going to head to Las Vegas. And this weekend, I'm going to see Bill Burr and Jack White. And the plan had been from there to then go to LA and see 2 more Jack White shows and then drive up the coast and see even more. But I'm that feels like a lot to me right now. So I'm going to see how I feel when I get to Vegas. But I don't think I'm going to go onward to LA, and like, driving my motorcycle into LA with all that traffic doesn't sound appealing to me at this point in time. So I think I'm just going to head down to Vegas, then maybe pop up to Reno and see the show there. See my friend Keely and her husband, Mike, or they're not married yet. They get married next month, but they've been together for like, I don't know, like forever amount of years. And I saw them in August of 2020. So it'll be almost 2 years since I've seen them. So maybe hang out in Tahoe for a few days and then wind my way back here, see Jack White in Salt Lake, then come back to New York. And I think when I come back to New York this next time, now that I like feel like I'm running my business again and back to being a little bit on top of it, I'm curious to see how I might feel different about that. Will I? Won't I? Not even sure. I guess I'll see when I get there. But I don't really care. So I'm gonna, plan is to go back to New York for a couple of weeks, play softball like a motherfucker, probably report back to you guys about how amazing I am at softball, and then come back out here for the first week or 2 of July, ride around some more, do some more camping, maybe go down to Moab, hit that shit, and then back to New York for mid to late July into August, and then maybe back here for a bit, then maybe back for September when I have more shows. I don't know. But it kind of feels like the sort of long extended solo motorcycle riding camping trips aren't going to be done in the same way they were in 2020. And that's fine, because that was a pandemic. I said that's fine. Like, I would love to just be out there on the road traveling, but also that is not conducive to actually booking shows and focusing on my business, which almost feels like a little of a cop-out when I say that now, because it's like, but it's not a cop-out, because as I've said on this podcast and as friends have reminded me plenty of times over the years, like, I don't do anything I don't want to do. So if I didn't want to do this and didn't want to work on booking more shows, I just wouldn't. Like, I'd just be like, I don't care. So, like, I have enough money to, like, skirt by. I'll be fine. But I think it's a good confluence of inspirations. One, in that I was inspired to, like, set up events that bring people back onto these boats, and I was inspired by it, not so much for the money, but for the idea of that's something I started. And of course, it'll be nice to make money because it'll take some pressure off and sort of give me some options that I haven't had for the past couple of years. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how much money I make. I do definitely know that when I have been in the past doing things to make money, like, when I was like, oh my God, I think I can make a lot of money with this, those are the shows that always failed. And when I do things because I think they're good and cool and fun ideas, I usually either break even on those or make money. So yeah, I'm not setting out my intention with doing more shows isn't necessarily to make money. If it was, I don't think I would be able to do it. I just don't think I would bring myself to do it. I would get bored very quickly and I would stop. But my intention is to continue to develop the Rocks Off Cruise series and provide this as an experiential alternative to people who like the nightlife in New York. That's what I'm talking about. In that, yeah, I'm doing this. I want to do it because I think it's cool. And I think people think it's cool. And I want them to have more options of ways to go on the boat. And of course, yeah, making money is going to be a nice side effect of that, and keeping my crew working and my team together, sort of, and making sure that they have enough work is a really big part of it, too. You know, my good friend Paul Hanley's the guy who's told me off of here, and I've mentioned on here that, like, you know what, if you don't feel like recording an hour, don't record an hour. And today, I kind of don't feel like recording an hour. I think I said everything that I feel like saying right now. Yeah, hockey playoffs are on. It was very good to see the Rangers eke out a win. It was good to see. Good to watch Calgary and Edmonton. Oh, Edmonton delivered them a brutal blow last night. I think it was 5-0 by the time the end was. I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep because I ate an edible, and also the edible didn't put me to sleep, but then we went out for ice cream after the first period, and we went to Handel's Ice Cream. I'd say Handles. People call it Handles, but that sounds like 16 Handles, the frozen yogurt place. But this place is a German company family that has a run of ice cream parlors out here. I don't know how far it stretches, but it's Handel, so Handel's. So we went to Handel's, and they had all these different options, but they had the 4-scoop variety pack where you can choose 4 different flavors and get a scoop of each for $6. And I did, and I ate the whole thing by myself. Then I went into an ice cream coma, and we were going to watch a basketball game, and I went upstairs, and I said, I'll come back down and watch the game, but I got to lay down. And what happened when I laid down was I fell asleep, and I slept for like 10 hours. It was fucking awesome. Just nice to get some sleep. It's also nice to get some ice cream. It's going to be nice to go ride my motorcycle around probably today, and then I'll see how I feel, like I'm going to head down to Las Vegas, and then after a fucking long 700-mile ride, which I'll probably split up over 2 days, but who knows, because I can be a little nutty and then just decide to put the pedal to the metal and keep going. There is no pedal on a motorcycle, though, so we're not really, that's a euphemism, I should say. We'll see how we feel. One thing is, whenever I make a plan, something else kind of comes up, and that's why I've always liked to say in my adventuring, like, I think I'm a very good traveler, both with other people and obviously solo. I'm great because I just go wherever I want and do what I want without having to ask anybody. But the reason I like to think I'm a good traveler is that I always have like a plan A, B, and C. So I've got an A plan, but I always sort of kind of come up with, and it hasn't been something I've done on purpose. It was something that just sort of I do in travel and in life when I'm making plans. I always kind of like, all right, well, what if that doesn't work out? Then I'll pivot this way, and then I'll pivot that way. And it's certain, like, I even when I'm going out for a night in New York or something, I'm like, I know I'm headed to this show, but, like, sometimes I get to that show, and I'm like, I've watched 5 songs by this band. I'm not really liking it. And then I also know 2 or 3 other shows that are going on that night. So I can always be like, oh, I don't feel like being at this one anymore. I'm going to pivot over to that one. And same as, like, if... like a couple summers ago, last summer it was, I think, yeah, in my car, whatever. I ended up at like the specific campground I wanted to be at Valley of Fire National Park, State Park in Nevada, and it was all the camping sites were full, and I was like, oh, that's okay, I got another plan. Like, I was just kind of got another plan, so if something doesn't work out, I'm never bummed out. I'm not like, oh my god, I had put all my eggs in that basket, I have to go there. Or like, oh, I want to go here, oh, the plane tickets are too expensive or they're sold out, okay, I'm gonna go there instead. Or I'm just gonna stay in one place, and that doesn't bother me either. But it's always good to have different plans in life and in travel. So right now my plan is to go to Vegas and just chill there for a while, then make my way up to Tahoe and Reno and skip the LA shows of Jack White. But who knows? Once I get to Vegas, I don't know. All I can say is I do know I will check in again next week. Hopefully we'll have some more Speakeasy Meats news for you there. I did hear from Adam Bauer that everything is back up in running order and they are accepting deliveries and delivering. And I think they've got 30% off of all their whole chickens right now because they've got an abundance of chickens that he smoked for some reason. I'm not even sure why. But go to speakeasymeats.com, order some smoked chicken, order some Huey chicken, order some Cluck Cluck wings, order some Monstrami brisket, their signature item. Don't miss the Monstrami brisket. The pulled pork is fantastic. Go to speakeasymeats.com. Use the discount code Jakey. More exciting news coming up in that field soon. Go check out the newly redesigned rocksoft.com. Buy a ticket for our fish bus. Buy a ticket to some of our concerts. Buy tickets for your friends for the concert cruises. You know what? You want to do something for a friend. Look at our schedule. Find something they'd like. If you're not in New York and you can't take themselves, buy them the tickets. And then just send them to them and say, hey, I'm gifting you this amazing night out in New York City that my friend Jake runs. Just fire that shit out there. You know what I'm saying? Buy some tickets, buy some shirts. Don't, if you don't need any of that shit, you don't want any of that shit, if it's not going to improve your life, don't buy anything. Just keep listening to this podcast. If you want, I'll be here next week. Yes, this is a short episode, but Paul Hanley told me, hey man, it doesn't have to be an hour every week. Just say what's on your mind. And I have unloaded my mind. So there's not much more else to say right now. That's it. Look at this beautiful fucking day in the sun and this beautiful view from this backyard. Like, why would I be in a rush to move on to anywhere else? I'm not. I love it. Utah's a rad fucking state too. I think a lot of people know that Utah's a rad state. Like Idaho felt like I was really discovering something different and fun and new. But I would highly recommend you get out there to Idaho. At some point, if you need a tour guide, reach out. If I'm available, you can hire me as your adventure guide. I take you all through all the backcountry roads, whether you want to do it on a motorcycle or whatever. You want me to just plan an itinerary for you? I'll email you some awesome places to go in Idaho or Salt Lake or anywhere you might want to be. Anyways, that's it for this week. Tuesdays with Jakey. Recorded a day early. It's Monday, May 23rd. I'm going to post this shit up too. So if you've been, I'm not going to wait till Tuesday to post it, but it is the episode for Tuesday, May 24th, and I'll be back at you next week. I'll probably have done a bunch of hiking down in Vegas at Red Rock Canyon. See my friend Kenny. Hopefully see my friend Vaughn. I'll see Bill Burr. I'll see Jack White. I'll see Todd Caston. I'll see Chris White. Who else am I going to see when I'm out there? I don't know. Are you in Vegas? I don't. For all the time I've spent in Vegas over the years, I don't really know a lot of people in that town. I'd like to fix that. I'd like to make some friends there. So if you have a friend who's there, let me know. Or if you want to meet me there, holler. I'll be there Memorial Day weekend. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for listening in and watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want to see your face too. Send me a picture. If you're listening to this podcast and we don't know each other in real life or follow each other on social media, send me a picture. Say, hey, this is your listener, Tall Boy Ken, out here. Just thought you'd want to see my face. I want to see your faces. You see mine all the time. If you're on YouTube, if you like watching the video version of this, cool. If you're just listening, then send me an audio message and be like, hey, this is what my voice sounds like, big boy. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's it for this week. Peace out. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Like I always say, have an A, B, and C plan whenever you're traveling and for life. And remember, when you close one door, that allows others to be open. It's almost like your life is in some sort of vacuum, and you can't keep one door open and expect another one to open at the same time. Sometimes you just gotta close that shit, let the air recalibrate or whatever, and then another one can open. So yeah, sometimes you gotta say goodbye to things before anything else is gonna be ready to say hello. That's it for today and this week. I'll be back next week, probably on Tuesday, maybe on Monday, maybe on Wednesday. Anyway, it's your old friend Jakey. Like I said, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. Reach out to your friends, tell them how much you love them. I love you guys, even if I haven't told you one-on-one anytime lately. That's it. God bless and inshallah.